So with the announcement of the SXSW Sonic panel coming up in March, what is Sega going to announce for Sonic during the panel? Let's discuss right now.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
Hey there beautiful human, my name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel, where today we're finally going to be getting some more Sonic content over here after what felt like a huge week for SpongeBob. So sorry for how overflooded my channel was with like SpongeBob content, but now that that news has died down, we can go ahead and kind of get back into the swing of things. I am going to have some more Sonic content coming up, especially given the fact that we do know that Sonic will have a presence at the SXSW panel this year. So before we get started, I just want to plug in today's fan art. This fan art comes from Fungi. Yep, his name is, or is it her or there or whatever. Pronouns are very difficult for me. But Fungi drew this really interesting picture of Metal Duckles. I think it's drawn in Mario Paint, whatever that is. Is that some kind of like computer application? I'm not really sure. I've never heard of Mario Paint before. But yeah, look at Metal Duckles over here. It's definitely a very interesting style for Metal Duckles, but I dig it. You know, actually his duck beak in this one kind of reminds me of like Homer Simpson. I have no idea why. It just kind of looks a bit like a monkey's like chin almost. So I like it though. It's a different interpretation of the duck beak, the infamous duck beak. So thank you so much. If Fungi has any links that I can share, then I'll leave a link in the description box below. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. But yeah, thank you so much for drawing this. Back to the topic at hand. So SXSW could be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of what gets announced during the event. I think last year is when they announced Sonic Mania Plus, so that was a bit of a significant announcement, but not like a whole brand new game. If there's ever been a time where they announced like a brand new game at SXSW, then let me know that in the comment section below. I honestly am not sure. I can't remember anything really that significant being announced here, so that's a big variable in terms of, are we actually going to get really big news here at the convention? So in today's video, I actually want to take a bit of a different direction here and talk about certain possibilities that I think could be announced at the event, and talk about whether it's realistic or not to expect these things. Before we do that though, I just want to touch upon the two things that I am very certain is going to have a presence at this event. The first thing is of course Team Sonic Racing, because by the time we get this panel, Team Sonic Racing is going to be coming out in like 2 months, so it's very clear that we're going to get something Team Sonic Racing related, whether that be like a new trailer, a new CGI cutscene, or like maybe gameplay footage of Frozen Junkyard, because I do know that they played that song in the Team Sonic Racing Behind the Music episode thingy that they released last week. I think it was last week. So maybe they'll show off a gameplay video of that track specifically. You know, just any kind of new content for Team Sonic Racing, because it's been a long time since we've gotten like an actual legit gameplay video of Team Sonic Racing. So I think if they don't do it in the next couple weeks or so, then SXSW would be the perfect time to kind of restart the promotional campaign of Team Sonic Racing with the videos. I mean, we've been getting a lot of music and stuff, but music can only take you so far. You need to start showing off the actual game, because you are trying to sell a game, not an album. So hopefully Sega shows off some gameplay footage soon. The second thing that I know for sure is going to have an appearance at SXSW is the Sonic movie. So maybe they're going to review the trailer at SXSW. I'm not really sure about that, but whether or not they review a trailer, we're going to get something related to the movie at this panel. So I'm pretty certain that if the trailer has not been released by that point, then we're going to get the trailer. If the trailer has been released, then we're probably going to get like a new clip or some new information about the plot or all that, and maybe some interesting discussions about the design overall and what Sega thinks about it, since they will be speaking at this event. So that would be very interesting to see no matter what happens. But beyond those two things, what else could I possibly see being announced or shown at this panel? I've got a few different ideas, so I'm going to go through them one by one. The first idea I want to talk about is the idea of Sonic Mania 2. The reason I'm going to do this first is because I kind of talked about it already in one of my previous videos, where I thought that Sega was going to tease and announce the release of Sonic Mania 2, so I'll leave a link to that video in the top right corner if you want to go check that one out. but obviously that didn't turn out to be true. We actually just got like a music track from T. Lopes. Of course, it was a music track. But do I still think that Sonic Mania 2 is a possibility, especially in regards to this panel? I'm not really sure now that I think about it. I really do think it would have been much more likely to have them announce the Sonic Mania 2 back then, because it just seemed like it was going to be a perfect fit, you know, the classic song, a classic remix of a classic boss track, and this really just seems like the perfect timetable for Sonic Mania 2 to come out. I know some people think that it's too soon, but I think the reason that they think it's too soon is because Sonic Mania Plus came out last year. So you can kind of argue both sides that it is too soon. I don't think it's too soon personally, because Sonic Mania Plus wasn't like a whole new pack of levels per se. It literally was just like, you know, adding 2 characters and putting a fresh coat of paint on all the levels. So it really is not constituted as like a reason to not want Sonic Mania 2 to come out this year, in the sense that it'd be too soon, because you didn't get like a whole new game with that. You just got more downloadable content. So I really do think it'd be perfectly reasonable to get Sonic Mania 2. Whether or not that actually happens, so I'm kind of doubtful at this point. I do think that with the Sonic movie going on and Team Sonic Racing, I think that Sonic Mania 2 may just need to wait like a year or so to fully get that attention that it deserves. If you release Sonic Mania 2 in the midst of all this stuff, then I just don't think it's gonna get the attention that it needs or deserves. So I'm kind of doubtful on Sonic Mania 2, but I am very confident that they are working on it and that it is getting close to being finished, because Sonic Mania really laid out the blueprint for what a sequel should be. So all they really need to do is just take what worked before and just make new levels out of it. Maybe add like Amy and Metal Sonic as playable characters and all that, and maybe add something brand new that we wouldn't be expecting. So I really have full confidence that they are working on Sonic Mania 2, and they could have released it this year if they wanted to, but I think logically it just doesn't make sense to release that with everything else you have going on. Now the second option that I want to talk about is an option that's very popular among my subscribers. So the next option that I think is a possibility is a Sonic Adventure remake. So you remember that article where Takashi talked about how he would love to make a Sonic Adventure remake? Maybe that was foreshadowing for announcement of Sonic Adventure remake for this year. I mean, it could be just this thing where like Iizuka wanted to kind of get fans in the mindset of wanting a Sonic Adventure remake, and then boom, surprising them with the release of the remake at the panel. However, I think with a Sonic Adventure remake, I think it's a lot less likely for it to be coming out this year, just because I feel like Sega and Sonic Team would want to take their time on that one, because Sonic Adventure is obviously a very important game in the lives of so many Sonic fans. A lot of us grew up with it, myself included, and we really want the remake, if it's happening, to be an amazing remake. We want it to be something that's gonna be looked at as one of Sonic's best titles to come out in a long time. You know, we want it in a similar vein to the Crash and Spyro remakes. So I really don't think that Sega would risk releasing that this year, especially with the Sonic movie coming out where it could possibly overshadow it. I just don't think that's a smart idea. I think they should give it the time and patience that it requires and really work on it to make sure that's beautiful and amazing. Now, whether or not Sega will actually do that, who knows, but I don't think it's likely we're gonna see a Sonic Adventure remake announced at the panel. I think we're gonna need at least a year or two before we get any information on that. At least I'm hoping that they're taking the time and care to make it, if they are actually making it, which I know a lot of people assume they are, but truth be told, we really don't know if they're actually making it or not. You know, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I don't have any reason to believe that they're actually making it. It's more so just knowing that they're aware of the demand for it and are considering it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now the third option, and the option that I think is most likely to happen of all these options I've talked about, is a Sonic game that's supposed to be tied into the movie. Now I know this is not what most people want to hear. I do understand that like people really don't like where this movie is going, and they think that a video game associated with it is gonna be crap as well, especially given what happened with Sonic Boom. But I really think that it makes a lot of sense for Sega to want to make a video game to capitalize off the movie. I mean, initially when and they thought that this movie was going to be a success. Maybe they still do, but initially what they were probably thinking when this movie was in development was like, hey, this movie is going to bring a lot of attention to Sonic. Maybe we should release a video game to kind of coincide with the release and get a quick profit out of it. And so I would not be surprised at all if Sega announced a tie-in movie video game to come out along with the movie. I know movie video games are not as popular as they used to, but they still happen. They're still out there, so it's entirely possible that developing something. It's probably not going to be like a high budget mainline 3D Sonic game. Maybe it'll be more similar in the vein of like Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight in terms of the size team that works on it and the kind of niche gameplay that we're going to get from it. So the Sonic movie video game, if it is happening, is going to be quite a wild card in terms of whether or not we actually like it, whether or not it feels like a Sonic game. And there's a lot of things about it that I'd be really interested in seeing if it were to actually happen. I do think it makes a lot of financial sense for Sega to invest in a video game even if it doesn't get the best reception, because people are definitely going to buy it. You know, this movie has captured the attention of a lot of people, so a video game would capture the attention just as much. So especially considering the fact that Sonic is originally a video game series, so people would expect Sonic to have a video game tie-in with the movie. It just makes a lot of sense. However, I do realize that video game movies in general are not as popular, so this is not really set in stone. It might not happen, but I think of all the viable options I've discussed so far, this is definitely the most likely option to occur. And the last option I want to consider, but I don't really have much to talk about when it comes to it, is something completely brand new. You know, it's not going to be Sonic Mania 2, it's not a Sonic Adventure remake, it's not a movie tie-in game, it's a completely brand new isolated Sonic game. Could be the next mainline title right after Forces. I mean, it's also likely that Sega would just release like another Boost Trilogy game to coincide with the movie, but not actually have it relate to the movie, just be another 3D Sonic adventure. Now, this is difficult because I don't imagine them making like a whole new, brand new spanking Sonic game with a brand new gameplay style, kind of similar to how Sonic Unleashed was when it first came out. I'd imagine if they want to release like a mainline Sonic game this year, it would take on the same engine as the Boost formula, because with that, Sega already has it developed, especially for the next generation consoles, PS4 and Xbox One, so they wouldn't really have to do that much in terms of retweaking the engine like they had to do with Sonic Forces probably when they were going from the Xbox 360 PS3 development to the next generation. So I think it's very probable that they probably just took what they did in Forces and just add more levels and just make it like another mainline Sonic game. However, I do think, in my personal opinion, that Sega is probably done with the Boost formula. I think they've taken everything they can out of it and they're gonna try to innovate and make something brand new, or maybe go back to the adventure formula. So that's why I don't think like a brand new 3D Sonic game is very likely at the end of the year, especially with the movie coming out. You know, a brand new 3D Sonic game would probably have to share the attention with the movie a lot, so I think Sega would want to release something a little bit less risky. And that's why I think the movie tie-in game is the most likely suspect in terms of like a brand new game announcement. But it is still possible to have another 3D mainline Sonic game, because that still could benefit from the movie even if it's not directly related to it. But okay, those are all the viable options I think are possible for a game announcement at the SXSW Sonic panel. What do you all think is most likely out of all the options I've discussed? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And also let me know if you think there's something completely different that I did not cover in my 4 choices. I would be really interested in reading about what you all think is going to happen at the panel. This is a really fun time. This is like that point where we know that something is coming, or at least hopefully coming, and this is basically that speculation part of the timeline where we wait until March, April, or May, and then they come out with the actual Sonic announcements. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if they actually have something worthwhile at the SXSW, or if they're just going to focus on Team Sonic Racing and the Sonic movie specifically. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these and want to see more in the future. Follow me on Twitter at RidersDX, or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. And this is Riders, riding out.